Welcome back. So last lesson we used Swagger to call our REST API, and that REST API now needs to call the service. So we need to kind of have a flow from the REST API to the service. We need that in the constructor now in order to get access to that service. So it's going to end up looking something like this. Swagger or any REST API call is going to end up in the get all. We kind of have this get request, and that's going to call the product service. And behind the scenes, we already completed this, where it's going to call find all on the repository then. But we need access to the product service now, and that's what we're going to build this lesson. Let's dive into the code. What I did is I installed mock. So what we need to do first is go into our test area again for the web API test. And here we need to manage NuGet packages. And the NuGet package we added was the mock. And you already used that before in previous lessons, so I don't want to talk that much about it. Now with the mock available, I can then mock a service and I can pass it into the product controller. Now the product controller doesn't know about this yet, so we'll have a compile error. We need to go and fix it, just like we did with the service and the repository actually. So I'll jump into the product controller now and just create a constructor. And again, remember, it's just a class, so there's no magic here. It's just like you did with the service. I'll just add a constructor. In the constructor, I'll add an iProductService right here, iProductService. And that iProductService, let's just call it product service, is just going to be in there in the constructor, and then we actually have a test that we can start running now. So let's try and jump back to our product controller test and just run this test just to be sure that the test is still running even after I made this new change right here. The unit test is green, so I added a couple of other tests, very similar to the ones we did for the product service, so I don't want to again waste too much time there. First is that I expect the product controller is going to throw a null reference exception if the product service is null. So let's just try and run this unit test. This of course will fail because right now we're not testing it. So let's go into our product controller right here and do a similar thing like we did with the service, where we just do an if statement right here. If the product service equals null, there's something wrong. If that is the case, return or throw new invalid data exception. There we go. And let's see if that unit test is now green. I'll just do this fast because you guys have already seen most of this. And there we go. It's green. And now we'll call this one, which is the final test I made for this lesson. If we go back to the testing, you'll see this is also green now. And the final one I did is this guy right here, where we then throw this message inside when we kind of throw a null reference exception. Let's just again make that fail and then go and fix it afterwards. So I'll jump back to the product controller right here. It fails, happy days. I'll rerun the test down here, and hopefully now that's also green. And now we just tested, so we have the product service available now inside our product controller. There we go. I have one failing test. Let's just try and run all of them because maybe I did something wrong in one of my unit tests that breaks another. Let's just see if everything's green. There we go. We have all green tests again. Sweet. That's it for this lesson. Now we kind of have an overview about what's going to happen next, because what's actually going to happen is we are going to use the product service now inside this get products right here, get all. It's going to call the product services get all method. And from that, we're going to get back what we need and return it as an action result. That's it for this lesson. See you next time. Bye.